Okay, so my clock says 7 o'clock, so let's go ahead and get started. This meeting is being recorded and will be available if anybody has to leave or wasn't able to attend. I will put this onto the website under sandy.utah.gov/NOAC, and I'll type that out in the questions so that you can see that. But so welcome everybody. We're glad to have you all here. I am Amy Bryant. I am a crime prevention specialist with the Sandy Police Department. Night Out Against Crime is an event that is nationally done. It's a community building event that enhances the relationship between law enforcement and the community. And it's also supposed to bring neighbors together. Under normal circumstances, we have, encourage people to do neighborhood gatherings, or we have done a big event at a park in the city and we invite people down. But obviously this year, under circumstances that we're all aware of, that was not possible. So it's usually held in August, but nationally they asked law enforcement agencies to move it to the first Tuesday in October. I think their hope was that by then people would be able to gather, but obviously we're still in this situation. So that's why we decided to make this a virtual event. We didn't want to just not do anything. We wanted to offer something for Night Out. So we hope that you really enjoy this evening, and we hope that our hope with this whole evening is that working together we make Sandy City a safer community and a better place to live. Just to let you know how things will proceed for the evening, we have 5 speakers that will be talking tonight. Questions can be asked using the Q&A little tab on your Zoom screen. Those questions will be answered at the very end of all 5 presentations. So if you have questions throughout the presentations, please go ahead and type your question into the Q&A section, and we'll get to those at the end as much as time will allow. What else? Oh, questions can be on any law enforcement related topic, not necessarily just what we talk about tonight. So we really want this to be an opportunity for any of you out there who have questions that we can try to answer those for you. Also, I will be typing in the typing resources into the chat feature just for your information, so that you can keep notes on maybe things that are talked about or websites that are said, so that you can take notes on those. So with that, how we will proceed, our first speaker will be Chief Severson, and then we'll proceed with Sergeant Clayton Swenson, and then I will present after Sergeant Swenson. Then we'll go to Sergeant Morin, followed by Captain Chapman. And we'll proceed to that point where then we will do question and answers. So Chief, I'm going to turn the time over to you and go for it.
Well, thanks very much, Amy. Yep, for those that don't know me, my name's Greg Severson. I'm the Chief of Police of Sandy. I've been with this police department for 25 years. I've done many assignments within the police department during that time. I came into this latest position in January after the untimely passing of our previous chief and my good buddy, Bill O'Neill, who I miss every day. And since then, it's been pretty tough with COVID-19 and protests and riots, but I digress. Enough about me, so let's get into tonight's program. So first things first, I want to tell Amy Bryant, thank you so much for putting this together. She does an amazing job for our police department, does an amazing job putting Night Out together every year. Obviously, this year has some challenges. The virtual event is not our preferred format. We'd much rather be out in the parks and the backyard barbecues, meeting with people face to face, getting to know everybody. And hopefully next August, we'll get back to that. So thanks again, Amy. She's put together a very informative program, and I hope you enjoy it. So let's get started. The first thing we want to begin with is we want to launch our Sandy Secure initiative. And what is Sandy Secure? The Sandy Secure initiative is a partnership between our police department, the Sandy City Police Department, and the Utah Commission on Service and Volunteerism. The goal of the initiative is to reduce or prevent property crime within Sandy City. We want to raise awareness on the effect of property crime on our community, promote crime prevention, and educate the public on our policing efforts. It's our goal. We want all Sandy residents to develop good Sandy Secure habits. So you heard me talk about that it involves property crimes. While our crime rates here in Sandy City are traditionally low, any city our size will always deal with some level of crime, and we're no different. The overwhelming majority of our crime, however, is property related. And when I say property related, I mean crimes like burglary, theft, and vehicle theft. Just to share some statistics with you, in 2019, we responded to approximately 199 residential burglaries, 661 vehicle burglaries, 217 auto thefts, 53 bike thefts, 81 mail thefts, and 79 package thefts. The package theft thing is kind of new. This is the Amazon driver that shows up at your house, drops the package on your porch, then the porch pirates show up, they run up there, snatch your package, and they're gone. With Amazon becoming as big as they are and more people utilizing that service, we anticipate this crime to go up in future years. So where are we at this year in 2020? Well, the good news is that our overall thefts are at a 10-year low right now. However, we are seeing spikes in crimes like auto theft and vehicle burglary, and we're hoping that this Sandy Secure initiative will help us prevent some of these crimes from occurring in the future. So that's the Sandy Secure initiative in a nutshell. Now maybe you're asking how you can help us out. Some of the things that you can do for Sandy Secure is we have a program called Operation ID. It's not a new program, it's been around forever, and we used to hand out cards where we asked you to go around your house and document like your TVs, your lawnmowers, and the serial numbers that are attached with all those items, right? So everybody these days seems to have one of these, a nice little smartphone, which seemed to be everybody's best friend and worst enemy at the same time. But a nice trick to the smartphone is they all typically come with cameras, so you could go out to your garage, let's say, take a nice Photoshop of your lawnmower and the serial number with the lawnmower, and then quite possibly just make an etch of your initials or some identifying mark in the lawnmower that will help us find it in case it's stolen. The reason I use the lawnmower is because the majority of our residential burglaries occur out of open garages. You leave it open at night, which can happen. You leave it open during the day and they drive by. These guys will jump out of their car, run up, snatch the first thing they see in your garage, whether it's your lawnmower, your snow blower, your leaf blower, whatever. And they're in the back of the truck on the way to the pawn shop. And before you even know it's been stolen, they pawned it for 25 bucks and they're on their way to get their next drug fix. The reason the picture is helpful to us is that when they take that lawnmower into the pawn shops now will take a photograph of the lawnmower and they'll take a photograph of the serial number, and then they'll upload that into what's called the Utah Pawn Database, and our detectives can see that. So if they have your picture and can compare it to the picture on the pawn database, it makes it really easy to solve the crime. On top of that, when that suspect goes in and pawns those items, they actually have to leave a fingerprint. So it's really easy to identify them and solve the crime. And if we could get everybody in the city to actually come on board and do that, we would solve a ton of crime in this city and really put a hurt on it. It would go a long way to solving the issues that we have. So that's one way that you can help out, is Operation ID. The second way is just to simply be observant in your neighborhood, make a point to get to know what is going on and who belongs there. Trust your judgment, and if you see something that doesn't look right or looks out of place, chances are you're right, and it may warrant a call to the police department. You can call us at our non-emergency line, which is 801-799-3000, and report it. Here in Sandy, we have a good policy where we expect that if you contact us and report something, you will get a response from our police officers. So we will come out on anything and check it. So please don't hesitate to call us on those things when you see it. And the third way you can help us is get to know your neighbors and your neighborhood. So go out, say hello, get to know them. I want to share a quick story about something that happened to me about 25 years ago. My wife and I bought our first house out in West Valley. There was a house being built across the street, and about a month later, a new couple moved in. And we didn't know them from Adam, but we walked across the street and introduced ourselves to them. We knew enough that they both worked at an alarm company. They knew that I was a Sandy police officer, and we knew that they were going on vacation in the next month. And that's all we knew of them. Well, that vacation came and they left. And one night while they were gone, I took out some trash, threw it in the garbage. And on my way back into the house, I noticed that there was a teal Chevy truck in their driveway. The garage door was open and a mail was headed from the truck into the garage and into the house. Well, as I walked in my house, I noticed a big sticker on the side, or a magnet, that showed an alarm company on there. So I just assumed it was an alarm drop and somebody was checking their house and went about my business. But at least I was observant enough to see that. So they came back from vacation the next week. They walked across the street and they asked me if I'd seen anything the last week because somebody had broken into their house and stole all their jewelry. So I conveyed the story of what I'd seen, and it just turned out that was actually a coworker of theirs that worked at the alarm company who knew they were gone and had used his credentials to bypass their alarm and steal all their product, or steal all their jewelry. So just being vigilant and conveying that story, they were able to contact the police, get the suspect arrested, and get their stuff back. So it's just a lesson in try and be as observant as you can in your neighborhood. Just be aware of what's going on, and even the smallest details will go a long way into preventing and solving crime. So I guess the question is if you do see a crime being committed, what do you do about it? Well, if it's an emergency or somebody's in danger or the crime is in progress, always just call 911 for us. It's kind of common sense, but maybe it needs to be repeated. Call 911 and get us coming as soon as possible. If it, like I already said, if it occurred earlier, you can call us on our non-emergency line, or if it's not in progress. Some of the things you probably should be prepared to do is give your name, your address, and your phone number in case you get disconnected. And then they're going to just ask you the typical questions of who, what, where, when, and why. Don't be general. Get down to the nitty-gritty details if you have the time with the dispatcher. It really goes a long way to get really good descriptions of people, like what they're wearing, their t-shirt logos, that kind of thing. The vehicles, the color, make, model, the license plate, the damage on the vehicles helps out. Stickers on the vehicles help out, like I talked about earlier. Those things go a long way to solving the crime. Even if it's just a piece. Many times these suspects are not just hitting one garage or one store. They're doing multiple burglaries throughout the day. And if we can compile these things together, it gives us a better opportunity to catch these suspects later. Because in the end, it's really important that we keep them from victimizing anybody else in our community, right? We want to get them as soon as possible. Because believe me, if you've ever been a victim of a crime, you know how frustrating it is. It can make you afraid, it can make you feel guilty, and it can make you angry and embarrassed. And the reason I'm telling you that is because about a month ago, I was a victim of a crime. I was helping put together a law enforcement training down in Utah County, out in the middle of nowhere. And there was some light carpentry involved. So I have a buddy of mine that's in construction. So I borrowed his enclosed trailer, has a lot of power tools in it. And I hauled it out there, middle of nowhere, and we did the job. And that night I locked it up. And as I was getting ready to leave, I forgot to put one lock on the door. Well, as luck would have it, two bandits that night went out in the middle of nowhere, found this trailer, went through the side door, and stole all the power tools out of the vehicle. So I totally get what it is to be angry, guilty. I had to call my friend, tell him that his tools were stolen. My bank account was going to take a hit when I replaced them, which is always fun. And, I was embarrassed because, number one, I'm a cop. And I shouldn't have let that happen, but I understand that mistakes are made. So the moral of the story is, even though you feel all those things, make sure that you report it when that stuff happens, because it really gives us an opportunity to begin to run them down, begin to find them and solve those crimes. And the craziest things happen in law enforcement where things just come and hit you in the face, and you solve crazy crimes at any time. So always make sure we report it. And then lastly, I want to leave you with this. Our agency consists of 120 sworn officers. They work the road, or detectives or whatever, but they're here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. The one thing we can't be is on every street corner or every street in this city at all times. So we're counting on you. We're counting on the citizenry. We're depending on you to be our eyes and ears out there. There's a saying in Sandy, it's been with the PD for years and years, it's your community, get involved. And I think that's a pretty appropriate saying when it comes to this topic tonight. So I've chewed up enough of your time. Thank you for that time. I look forward to working with the community in the future, and I look forward to answering your questions later on. So I hope you enjoy the rest of the program.
Thank you very much, Chief. Okay, Sergeant Swenson, will you introduce yourself and then present on your topic, which is vehicle burglary and vehicle theft prevention?
Yeah, my name is Sergeant Swenson. I've been with Sandy Police for almost 16 years. I spent time in street crimes unit, canines, property crimes, and I am currently the public information officer, administrative sergeant. So you might see me on the news every once in a while. That's my main job. Tonight I'm going to talk about vehicle burglary and also vehicle theft. So let's start with vehicle burglary. The most important thing to remember about vehicle burglaries is that it's a crime of opportunity. So the best thing that we can do to keep ourselves from being victimized is to take that opportunity away. So the main thing there is to make sure we're not leaving property in our cars that can be stolen easily. When I was in patrol, I arrested a kid that was walking around stealing change from cars, and that's all he was taking. But again, he's entering those people's vehicles, and I'm sure if he found something better than change, he probably would have taken that too. So they're looking for anything and everything they can get their hands on. So take everything out of your vehicle. Charging cords, of course, cell phones, purses, wallets, all that kind of stuff. Guns, please don't leave your guns in your car. We see way too much of that, and obviously we don't want those guns out on the streets in the hands of people that should not have guns at all. So make sure those things are secure inside your house where bad guys have less of a chance of getting their hands on them. So once everything's out of your car, make sure you lock it, roll the windows up, make sure that it's all secure. Other things that you can do is park in well-lit areas, park in your garage. I've been in a lot of homes in 16 years, and I can't believe the amount of junk that is in people's garages. They'll fill their garages full of junk and park a $50,000 car outside in the driveway. So get that stuff out of there. I do it too. I've got, a $40 Walmart bicycle in my garage that I need to take to the dump that's eating up space. But get that stuff out of there. Park those cars in there where they're secure and it's harder for bad guys to get to. If you can't park in a garage, park in a well-lit area. Bad guys don't like light. They're easier seen and identified. So if you can park somewhere where there's more people in and out, where there's more light to deter that kind of activity, that'll help as well to not have stuff stolen from your vehicle. Don't forget that bad guys are also after vehicle parts. So tires, catalytic converters, batteries, anything that's not locked down, or even if it is locked down, they may try to take it. So there's some anti-theft devices you can get. Car alarms are great. Again, even that noise of somebody messing with your car, trying to get into it, will usually scare them off. They're not going to want to stick around and while there's a bunch of noise and drawing attention to themselves. So car alarms are great. The steering wheel locks are great. Tire locks, the lock nuts you can put on your tires. There's also anti-theft devices for catalytic converters, which are actually pretty inexpensive. And catalytic converters are very expensive to replace. If you've ever had one of those stolen, you know how much it is to get those replaced. And the reason why bad guys steal those is because they can recycle those, and there's material in there that is valuable, and they can recycle and get a little bit of cash. And like the chief said, they go in, pawn that stuff, and they're off to their next drug fix. So make sure that you do anything you can to lock that stuff down and prevent yourself from being a victim. All right, let's talk about vehicle theft prevention a little bit. It's October, it's getting colder, and people love to warm their cars up, and then they get stolen. So it's the season for that right now. Every morning about 6 o'clock in the morning, we start getting calls of people getting their cars stolen. And most of the time they're warming up their cars, and people are walking through the neighborhoods. Bad guys know. They're looking for an opportunity to jump into a car and take it and get to where they need to be. So I get it. I don't like climbing into a cold car either. But if you don't have one of the automatic start systems and you're using your key to start it up and leaving it unlocked, you're gonna open yourself up to being victimized and having your vehicle stolen. So avoid that where you can. Also, never leave your keys inside your vehicle. Bad guys know, they look for that too. You see in the movies, check the visor, they're doing all that. So don't leave your keys in the cup holder, in the ignition, or in the visor. Again, that's a way to be victimized. So keep your keys on you. Anti-theft devices, again, are a great solution. Alarms, all that kind of stuff. Anything that, any alarm that will go off and make a lot of noise when somebody's trying to get into your car or trying to hotwire your car or punch the ignition will be great to deter those kinds of activities. Also, we live in a great time where GPS is pretty inexpensive. We can put GPS trackers on our vehicles and know, where that vehicle is at all times. There's even GPS devices that'll shut the vehicle down, and we can recover those vehicles faster if they do get taken. Again, lock all your doors and windows. Another way to prevent people from getting inside your car and then being able to steal that vehicle. And again, parking in well-lit areas, in garages, will all reduce that chance of becoming a victim. Anything you can do to make their job more difficult, it's less likely that you'll become a victim. Again, all these crimes are crimes of opportunity. So if we can take that opportunity away from them, they're going to move on to the next person, the next vehicle, the next garage, and look for an easier target. So that's about it.
Let's see. Thank you, Sergeant Clayton, for that presentation. That's great information. And one thing I would share with the community and the attendees on this is that vehicle burglaries tend to be one of our top 5 offenses in the city. So they're prevalent, but the thing about them is that, like Sergeant Clayton said, they are preventable if you just do some of the things that he talked about tonight. So okay, now it's my privilege to talk to you guys about package theft prevention and mail theft prevention. So I do see that some questions have come in, so thank you for those, and we will get to those at the end. And I think you'll find that as we go through these presentations, some of your questions may be answered. So anyway, okay, so to begin, I'm going to try to share my screen here. And okay, can everybody see that? Give me a thumbs up, panelists. Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, so first of all, package theft prevention. So we see this a lot where packages that we have delivered to our homes are stolen. Package theft is generally a crime of opportunity that can be prevented. We don't want you to be victims of this crime. So we have put together some tips to try and help you so that you're not a victim of this crime. So let's go through some of those. So first of all, I would recommend that you send any packages that you order to a secure location. So ship your packages maybe to your workplace if that's where you're going to be, or maybe there's somebody at a front desk at your workplace that can sign for them and make sure that they get to you safely. You might think about, if you're not around, maybe there's a relative that is, or a friend or a neighbor that is around that can be there to receive your packages when they are shipped to you. You can also use delivery smart package lockers. You've probably seen some of these around the community. I've seen them a lot at like 7-Eleven locations. They're the big yellow locker type boxes out front. Those are great. You can send your packages there and they will give you a special code and tell you which locker your package is in, and then you can pick it up at your own convenience. And then it's stored in those secured lockers rather than sitting on your front porch. You can also have packages held at the carrier office for in-person pickup. There are lots of companies that have designated pickup zones, and they'll hold your packages there, and you can go in person and get your packages from those areas. Another thing you can do, if you use stores like a Target or a Walmart or something similar to that, take advantage of the ship to store option. So when you order your whatever it is that you're ordering, rather than having it shipped to your home, you can have it shipped to a store near you, and then they will hold it at customer service for you until you're able to go to the store and pick that package up. Again, just prevents it from sitting out in the open on a porch where it can be easily taken. If you're leaving on vacation, you can also request vacation hold on packages. There are lots of people who have frequent delivery of packages to their home, whether it's a reoccurring thing for business or whatever it might be, medications and things like that. So if you know you're going on vacation and those things are going to continue to come, most delivery companies will offer a service that you can hold your packages, that the delivery service can hold your packages until you return from vacation and can retrieve them. Continuing on, provide delivery instructions. So if you have a package that's coming, when you check out, you can provide instructions to the carrier about where you want that package delivered. Maybe you want it placed right inside a backyard fence. Maybe you want it placed behind a bench on your front porch so that it's hidden and not easily seen from people passing by on bikes or on foot or in car. So give them specific delivery instructions on where you want that package placed. Schedule packages to arrive when you're home, and also track your packages. So many of us, due to COVID, are working more at home than maybe what we used to. So if there are days that you are going to be home, have your packages delivered on those days so that they can be retrieved very quickly. You can also track your packages in real time so you know when they've arrived at your door. My husband often does this, and he'll text me and say, go to the door, there's a package there, because he's watching on the tracking app as to when it was delivered. So I can run to the door quickly and grab that before it sits too long. Also, if you need to leave home when you have scheduled a package to arrive, many carriers will allow you to delay the package from being delivered or to reroute the package through an app. So look into those options, and these things will help us in the city prevent package theft. Also, if there is an option to require a signature upon delivery of your package, please use that option. It gives an extra layer of security because it prevents that package from sitting unattended on your doorstep. And then if you're not home in time for that delivery, the carrier will try again the next day until you are home and can actually sign for the package. There are package theft prevention products available that you can look into. If you're somebody that receives packages often at your home, or expensive items are being shipped to your home, you might want to consider some of these products. There are many products available. Just to give you some examples of some of what is out there, products that sit on your porch and connect to Wi-Fi, alerting you via text when your package is delivered, so the carrier actually places it on the product that is on your porch, and that sends the alert. There are smart locks that allow keyless entry into your home or garage while you are watching on a live view and communicating back and forth with that delivery person. And then there are secure lock boxes that you can purchase. They sit on your porch. They look like maybe a milk, you know, when you used to get milk delivered to your front porch, or like what you would keep your hose in at home, kind of a box like that, similar to that look. So when they deliver your package, it gets delivered into that concealed and secured container on your property. So those are some products you can look at that will help you prevent package theft. And that's a very frustrating thing when you have something delivered and it's stolen from you in that way. And unfortunately, the criminals are pretty brazen. And I mean, some have even been known to follow right behind the delivery trucks, so they know exactly where these packages are being delivered. Just last week, we had a package theft. The person was actually working at home. The package was delivered, and just in the time that the package was delivered to when she could take a break from her work, the package was stolen off the front porch. They pulled right into the driveway and took it. So we just be very cautious of what is being delivered and making sure that it does not stay out on the porch and it's retrieved very quickly. Another thing you can do, and I think there was a question that came in on this, you can install cameras, and you can also install video doorbells if that is something that you would like to do. But one thing I would caution you on is don't get a false sense of security just because you have a video doorbell or cameras. You still need to take precautions. People will still come and take your packages off the porch, even if a camera is recording them. So don't rely on that camera from preventing the package theft. But the cameras do allow us as law enforcement to look into the crime. It gives us a picture of the suspect. It does provide an extra layer of security for sure. And, you know, as a community member, you can post those videos of suspicious activity to the community and to the police so that we can try and identify the suspect. But again, please keep in mind that as a police agency, just because we have a picture of somebody doesn't necessarily mean we know who that person is. Maybe an officer has dealt with them in the past and can identify them, or maybe a community member tells us, oh, I know that person, this is who it is. But unless we can actually identify them from the picture, we don't know who they are either. So we still have to do investigation and try to figure out who that person is. It doesn't, just because we have a picture doesn't mean we can just go arrest the suspect. So just letting you know on that. And then finally, network with your neighbors. And the chief talked a little bit about this. Get to know your neighbors and develop a trust with them so that you can work together. If I see my neighbor across the street has a package on their porch, I will oftentimes text or call and say, hey, do you want me to run across and grab your package that's on the porch? So watch out for each other and communicate with each other in that respect. Okay, so that leads us to the next topic, which is mail theft prevention. Unfortunately, thieves target the mail. We see video of thieves going mailbox to mailbox, opening up and taking whatever is in there. So we don't want to make it easy for these thieves to do that. So we want to present you with some prevention tips on mail theft as well. So what the best prevention technique for mail theft is to retrieve your mail or packages in your mailbox as soon as possible. Do not leave mail for a long period of time. Also, deposit any outgoing mail that you have at the local post office. Take time to actually go directly into the post office and mail your outgoing mail from there. If you put the flag up on your residential mailbox, that's a flag for the criminal that there's something in there, probably bills being mailed out that have a check in them or personal information or whatever it might be. So please do not leave outgoing mail in your residential mailbox with the flag up. Take time to take it to the post office, and that will save you from a lot of heartache of having your mail stolen, which can lead to identity theft and all sorts of other problems. So, and then use hold for pickup. This might be something many of you are not aware of, but when shipping packages via US mail, you can use a hold for pickup option if you'll be unavailable to get those packages when they're delivered. And then shipments will be held at a designated pickup location for 5 days. So you can get there when you have the opportunity to do so. And for more information on that, because we don't have time to get into all the details, you can visit USPS.com. Continuing on with mail theft prevention, you can also vacation hold your mail. So if you're going out of town, alert your post office that you'll be out of town and your mail will be held until you return. And again, you can visit USPS.com to sign up for that. Also, I would encourage those who don't have an active neighborhood watch program to start one. Get to know your neighbors and develop trust and help protect each other's property. And if you do not have an active neighborhood watch and would like information on getting one started, I would be the person to work with you on that. So you could contact me and I'll type up that information when I'm done presenting here on how to contact me. And then going paperless will also decrease the amount of sensitive information being sent to you in the mail. What I mean by going paperless is pay your bills through an online option and opt out of bills and being sent to your home that have personal information on them. That will really eliminate that type of mail from being stolen, which can lead to other things. I think I saw a question on this as well about securing your mailbox. So yes, I would encourage you to consider using a locking mailbox. A locking mailbox allows the mail carrier to deliver your mail through a slot, and then that mail falls down into a secured box that has to be opened by a key. So it protects your mail if you're not able to pick it up right when it's delivered. One thing I would caution you on with this is just because you have a locking mailbox doesn't mean you should allow the mail to pile up day after day. I have a good friend of mine who texted me a few weeks ago and said her locking mailbox had been broken into, and they had not retrieved the mail for 4 or 5 days. They didn't know what was missing. They had to go through putting alerts on all their, like fraud checks on all their, what's the word? You know what I'm trying to say, on their credit reports and things like that, just because they didn't know what was actually taken. But somebody actually did take the time to pry open the locking mailbox and steal what was inside. So still pick up that mail as soon as it's delivered, even if you have a locking mailbox. Another option, which I think a lot of people aren't aware of, is using informed delivery. So you can actually see what's coming in your mailbox before it even is in your mailbox. And what informed delivery allows is it gives, the post office will take pictures of what is going to be delivered to your mailbox, and then it's through an app, and it sends you a picture of what's coming for that day, so you know what is going to be arriving. And for that, you can also visit USPS.com. And then using delivery instructions, just like we said with packages, if you have a package coming by US mail and it won't fit in the mailbox, or you won't be home to receive it, again, provide instructions to the mail carrier on where you want that left. Opt out of junk mail. How many of us get those credit card applications that we don't want, that can be used against us if stolen, have a lot of information on it? So opt out of junk mail that comes to your home. You can call toll free at 1-888-5-OPT-OUT, or you can visit optoutprescreen.com, and I'll type those in the chat as well so that you'll have those. So these options allow you to choose to not receive those unsolicited offers that often come. Get a P.O. box. Many people have switched to P.O. boxes to avoid mail theft completely. So if you want to keep your personal address private or avoid getting mail at your residence, this might be a great option for you. There is a cost involved, but that way you can pick up your mail when and where you want. And if that's something that interests you, again, visit USPS.com. And then finally, install a mailbox chime. So there are mailbox chimes available that you can purchase that actually chime when your mailbox is being opened. So there's a wireless transmitter that fits on most mailboxes on the door, and when the mailbox door is opened, a signal automatically sends to a wireless transmitter in your house. So it actually chimes, and you know that either the mail was delivered or somebody is tampering with your mailbox. So those are some good options of how you can prevent mail theft. And then finally, just want to talk very briefly, this is the only caption on this one, about yard theft prevention. And the only reason I'm throwing this in here is because I've been seeing a lot on social media that people are having flags and signs and holiday decor stolen out of their yard. So just remember, secure anything in your yard, your decorations, bring things in at night if you're worried about them being stolen or damaged or vandalized. Especially with the Halloween season coming up, we'll see pumpkins stolen often, and then they're smashed into mailboxes or all over the street or whatever else. But make sure to secure the property that you have in your yard as well. Or you may become a victim of crime on that. So that concludes my presentation. Let me stop sharing my screen. And anyway, I don't know that I think I may have forgotten to introduce myself, but most of you that I'm seeing on here, I recognize names. So I appreciate all of you tuning in, but there's a lot of people I don't know also. So my title is Crime Prevention Specialist, and I've been doing this for 19 years, and I take care of Neighborhood Watch and volunteers in police service and public speaking and lots of other things that get thrown my way. So I appreciate you joining our Night Out Against Crime event tonight. Okay, next we are going to go to Sergeant Morin, who is my fearless boss, who I appreciate very much. Sergeant Morin, if you will introduce yourself, and then she is going to be talking about residential burglary prevention.
Awesome, thanks Amy. And you're super easy to supervise, so. My name is Christy Morin. I currently work in the crime scene and evidence section. I've been with Sandy for 16 years. I started in patrol, went to detectives, and then I became full-time crime scene. I do supervise crime prevention, as well as hopefully soon 1.5 evidence people. So tonight I'm going to talk about residential burglary, and it's going to reiterate a lot of what's already been said, because prevention is similar all the way around. In terms of your homes, securing it just like you're going to secure your car, you want to have at least all of your first floor windows locked, doors locked. If you've got a sliding glass door, you can put a dowel in it. Anything to prevent that person from getting in. Leaving lights on inside, also having lights outside. If they think that somebody's home, they're going to be less apt to even try those windows and doors. Porch lights are important, not only for deterrence, but also for those Ring cameras that we have, the Nest, the video doorbell cameras. Having correct lighting for your cameras adds to less video pixelation, and it makes it easier to get those still shots of those bad guys when we're processing those videos. So if you can leave your porch light on all the time, that's preferable. It doesn't add to your electricity in a significant way. Also installing motion lights is something that you can do at your gate entrances to your backyards, on your decks in the backyard. It's most likely that somebody's going to walk down your street and look for an opportunity, but it's not unheard of to have somebody hop the backyard fence and look for an opportunity as well. So having those lights on, whether they're motion or you leave them on all the time, is going to be a deterrent. When we're trying to find you as police officers, it's important for you guys to have well-lit, defined house numbers. We can guess which side of the road you're going to be on, but if we have big fat numbers over your garage doors, that's going to help us find you. A lot of times youth groups will go out and paint on the curbs for us. I know that in my neighborhood, that's what we did. They put American flags and our numbers right next to our driveways. So that's something that you can do to help us find you when something happens. Additionally, securing your garage. I was laughing when the chief was talking because I got my purse stolen out of my garage. So it happens to all of us. Those darn kids, they left the garage door open, and my vehicle was unlocked in an open garage, and boom, they got my purse. So that can happen to any of us, all of us, and then you spend hours and hours trying to cancel credit cards and reissue and save your experience stuff. So make sure that you're at the end of the night. Now what we do, we involve our children actually to check all of our doors, make sure that they're locked. Whoever comes in last lets us know that the garage door is closed. We have back and front lights on all the time at our house, and we also have an alarm system. So I'm not saying you have to do all that stuff, but those are all options that you can do. In my case, the burglar was walking by at 1:30 in the morning. I had a couple neighbors catch the bad guy on their Ring. One of the things to keep in mind for your cameras is how far they are from your yard, your driveway. Adding an additional camera helps us in terms of investigation, because sometimes the Rings and the Nests and the video doorbells are a little bit far away and we can't get a good shot of that person. So just making sure to secure your house, secure your garage, vehicles in the garage, now I lock my car when it's in the garage, even though the garage is closed. So all those things will help. And then we're always here to answer questions. I know that we all get these Ring emails from our neighborhood watch systems. So if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to take them at the end, but thank you for your time and I appreciate you logging on.
Thank you, Sergeant Morin. All right, our last presenter will be Captain Justin Chapman. Captain Chapman, if you would like to introduce yourself, and then he will be presenting on bike theft prevention. Go ahead, Captain.
Sure, thanks. You know, one good thing about the virtual environment is the virtual environment. Talking on bike theft, so I get to put myself in a bike shop, right? Hey, I am really actually very excited to be able to just talk to you really quickly about bike theft. Before I do real quick, I just wanted to go over something that has been brought up in the past about the Ring cameras. I'll do that after my introduction. So I have been with Sandy City 26 and a half years approximately, and had opportunity to work in a lot of different assignments in the police department, from investigations to youth unit to PIO and kind of everything in between. So really enjoyed my time with Sandy. And I do have to say, for any of those of you out there who are watching this, who wonder, you know, what do we think about our police department? We have a fantastic police department. We have fantastic officers. We have fantastic leadership. We have residents who support us, which has been really important and critical at this time, as you can imagine, with everything going on. So I just personally want to say thank you for that. I've been the recipient of those thank yous individually, and it means a lot to us. So I just wanted to bring that up before I carried on. So before we do the bike theft, just one thing about the Ring cameras, or at least that program. We have partnered with Ring, and it's not a partnership like some have said in the past. In other words, Ring doesn't set up a database that gets everybody's video and then police have access to your cameras and we can remote in. It's nothing like that whatsoever. It's a volunteer program. It's been very beneficial for our department. And the way it works basically is you sign up for the neighborhood app. You're able to get alerts of things that are happening in your neighborhood. You're able to put in information that may have happened to you and get that information out. And then the benefit for us as law enforcement is we can understand what's happening in some of those areas if they're not in a police report per se. And then the secondary benefit, of course, is getting that video in certain areas. We may have a crime that's occurred in a neighborhood, and we may just ask everybody who lives in that area to provide us with video. So completely voluntary. We can't get into your systems. We don't want to get into your systems. It's just one additional way that the residents can help out keeping your own community safe. So I just wanted to throw that out real quick because sometimes there is some misconception on what that program is. Okay, let's jump into bike theft. So I am a biker. I like to get out on my bike. I'm a mountain bike person more than anything, but I still ride it around my neighborhood. I still ride it, you know, up to the trails that are around the area that I live in. And I mean, I just enjoy the heck of it. I know a lot of people do. So bikes can range in price from a couple $100 to thousands of dollars. Like literally you could buy a car with the amount of money that you could spend on a bike these days. So that's kind of why it's kind of an important thing for us to address and think about when you're out recreating, when you have your bike. I personally hardly ever, if I take my bike out, I'm almost never leaving it anywhere, right? I'll take it out, put it back in my vehicle, and I'm taking it home, I'm securing it there. But if you happen to be out and about, I want to just suggest a few things to make sure that you're doing the best you can to either, you know, make it easier for us to recover if it does get stolen, or obviously do something to help it not get stolen in the first place. So an acronym that we follow is called RIDE, and the R in the acronym RIDE stands for register. So that would be getting with any bike group, maybe even the company that you bought it from might have a registry. Some government agencies have a registry, and then on our Sandy site we also have a link to a registry. So register your bike. That is the first step once you get it in helping us be able to identify it later. The second initial in RIDE is I, and that's for identify. So what are the things that you can do to help us identify that bike in the event that an officer sees it or it's recovered somewhere else? We want to make sure, as you can imagine, that the bike is actually yours, that we don't give it to somebody else. Somebody says, oh yeah, my specialized bike got stolen too. Okay, so how much information can you give us? And the more that you can give us, the better is going to be our chance of getting that bike back to you. Keeping a receipt from the purchase that you had, having a picture with the bike, you and the bike together, right? Beforehand, something that you can bring to us. Obviously, serial numbers are extremely important, and that could be a really quick way to identify that. Make, model, different accessories that you might have on, all those things will help us to identify that and get that bike back to you. The D in RIDE stands for double lock and double check. So double lock is referring to the way that you want to secure your bike to something that's secure, right? There's a lot of expensive things on a bike, and even wheels and seats can be taken. So if you use the type of lock, a D lock or a U lock they're called, and are able to encase the frame and a tire together around that stationary object that you're securing it to, that's great. But what's even better is if you can then take another cable, and they sell locks like this that come together, that cable that goes around the other wheel, and they all come together. So you've got one lock that's basically securing your entire bike. The double check is looking around your bike. Okay, what else isn't secured? Well, maybe I have a seat, and seats get stolen. It's the craziest thing. Lights, accessories that you might have on their water bottles. So take all those things, and that's part of the double lock and double check. And then the E in RIDE is simply enjoy. You've done all the things that you're supposed to do. So your bike should be there when you get back to that location. You should be able to take advantage of the time on that. My presentation is really short. Hopefully that's okay, Amy. Certainly have a lot of other things that everybody's been able to take time talking about tonight.
Yes, thank you so much, Captain Chapman. Appreciate that. So as you can see tonight, we really wanted to introduce this new initiative of #SandySecure. We hope that you found the information very helpful. What we want to do now is answer some of the questions that have come in. So before we do that, we have one other person on our panel here that will help us answer questions. So if I could ask Captain Mark Soper, if you would like to introduce yourself quickly so that we can, so people know who you are if you jump in to help answer some of these questions.
Yeah, you bet. So lucky for me, I've been able to be quiet for a while. Lucky for you too. My name is Mark Soper, and I'm been with Sandy City for about 25 years, same as Chief Severson. So known him my whole career. Actually went to the police academy with him. So one thing I do want to add in real quick is we talked a little bit about garage doors and making sure they're closed. My own experience, if I don't watch it hit the bottom, needless to say, that cat is going to run out and trip the laser eye when it's a foot high, and I've closed the door and the garage is up for the night. So back up. So if you have animals that are in and out of your garage, double check just to make sure you watch that close all the way.
Thank you very much. Okay, so just as a reminder, questions can be typed into the Q&A feature on Zoom. I will state the question, and then as a panel of police personnel, we will go ahead and answer. So one question that we are getting is, have you found any increase in gang activity in Sandy?
So if you'd like, I looked at that question a little earlier. I got sound okay, sorry. Anyway, and we have some occasionally in there. We have some areas that are kind of bordering some of our other cities that we have a little more of increased gang activity. Fortunately for us though, most of the gang members that we do have that live in the city travel to some of the other cities to do some of their crime and stuff like that, just because Sandy does not have a ton of members in it, but we do have some, and we'll have the members that travel into our city to pick up their friends or whatever. We really don't have any like neighborhoods that are like staked out as a certain gang.
Okay, great, thank you. Anything else that the panel would like to add to that?
Yeah, if I could just touch on it a little bit. So just on some of the things that we're doing. So while we don't have a huge gang problem here in Sandy, we do recognize that gangs are an issue, and we do have members that do live here. For many years, we did have a member of our police department that was assigned to the Metro Gang task force. We have since pulled that detective back due to staffing concerns in past years, but probably within the next couple of months here, we will be re-implementing that officer into the task force. So we will be going back on board with them. So just want to update everybody on that.
Thank you, Chief. Okay, another question. Have we seen an increase in incidents of domestic violence in Sandy during this pandemic?
And unfortunately, yes, we have it. It was more prominent though at the beginning when families and people were spending more time at home when we were kind of more in a secure lockdown of the pandemic. Since it's kind of opened up though, we don't see quite as much. Still have the problem, but we don't have as many coming in through the daytime when people were constantly around each other. So unfortunately, yes, we did see some. I feel like it hasn't been as bad as it was back in April and May.
Thank you. Anything else to add from anybody on that? Okay, thank you. All right, question. What do you recommend for securing garage door openers? I've heard people are stealing those to gain entry after a car burglary. So if you'll let me, I'll go ahead and answer that because that was posted this week or last week on Nextdoor, and I did type up a response. So I'll just go through and give you some ideas of how to secure your garage door opener. So to protect your garage door opener, the best thing you can do, it's not the most convenient thing, but the best thing you can do is just take it with you. Carry it with you like you carry your wallet or your purse, but for sure don't leave it in your vehicle if you can. I mean, you need to try and take it out of your vehicle and take it with you. Also, if you have to keep the garage door opener in the vehicle, keep it somewhere that's not totally clearly visible. Most of you probably keep it on the visor or in the console. That's where they're going to check first, for sure. So think of a way that, or a place in the vehicle that you can put that garage door opener that's out of view and hard to find. Also, you can enable your garage to be smartphone compatible. So technology is getting such that we pretty much do everything from our cellular device. So you can eliminate the need for a garage door remote altogether and just use your device to open and close your garage door. You can also use the lock button on your garage door opener, the one that is by your man door that leads into the house. So this feature is designed to prevent operation of the door from handheld remotes, while still allowing you to open and close the door by pressing the button there. But anything that's handheld, it will lock it from being able to be used. Another thing, which we already kind of talked about today, was just park and secure your vehicle inside your closed and secured garage. If your garage is closed and secure, then the chances of that garage door opener being stolen from your vehicle are very remote. And then always keep the door between the house and the garage locked. A lot of us leave that open, but we want to prevent entry into the residence if that garage door is in fact stolen. So if you can lock those doors, every door that leads from the outside to the inside, that will help prevent a burglary from happening if your remote actually did get stolen. And then the last thing is just if your garage door opener has been stolen, play it safe and wipe the memory from your clicker and start over so that those things can't be used against you. So that's how I would answer that question. Does any of the other panelists have anything to add to those tips?
We use our keypad outside a lot. Instead of keeping all that stuff in the cars, we'll just get our extra steps, get out of the car, and then use the keypad to get in.
I like that. That's a great suggestion. Thank you, Sergeant Morin. Okay, what are the downsides of using Amazon Key? Have you had any reports of drivers doing more than just dropping packages inside the garage?
So I can take this one.
Okay.
I am familiar with a case from our crime suppression unit that made a case on a driver who was not only dropping off but picking up. So it recovered a bunch of stolen property from that driver, and obviously was terminated, I suspect, and charged. Along with that, while that question was being asked, I texted our property sergeant and asked him about using Amazon Key, and this was his response. I asked him, would you use Amazon Key? He said, nope, that's a nope sandwich with a huge side helping of nope. So
good to know. I'll take that out of my presentation. Don't do that.
Ethan's on the next panel.
Okay, I like it. All right, here's a question. A couple of presenters talked about thieves stealing for drugs. Have you heard of or seen any other reason people steal?
Yeah, I can take that one too, I guess. But yeah, so I was in narcotics for the better half of my career. And I have seen people steal for other reasons than drugs, but like revenge would be one reason. But the overwhelming majority of thefts occur because of drugs. I could tell you about serving search warrants on houses of drug dealers, going in and finding just rooms full of stolen power tools, lawnmowers, you name it. PlayStations, all kinds of stuff that people steal. The users steal, and then they take them to the dealer and they trade them for drugs. So the overwhelming majority of the theft problem is drug related.
Thank you. Okay. How is the hiring and retention of police officers going? Sergeant Swenson, or go ahead, who?
Do you want to take it, Clayton?
That's going to be me. Hiring's going very well right now. Hoping to be fully staffed by the end of the year. I feel like our retention has been better the last 3 years than it has been the rest of my career. So we're retaining officers. I was kind of surprised with everything going on, how many applicants we had that were non-certified police officers, and that means they've never been officers before and coming into the field brand new. We had a real uptick in applications for our non-certified police officers. So that tells me that people are wanting to get into law enforcement right now. We've had a really good pool of applicants. We're also recruiting lateral officers to try to get some more experience here at the department. So like I said, hopefully by the end of the year, we'll be fully staffed, and I believe our retention right now is better than it has been in a long time.
Great. Anything else to add, anybody?
Yeah, I just want to touch on that real quick.
Sure.
And I just want to second what Clayton said. I mean, I think we had somewhere around 60 people test in our new hire test in the last go around, which is more than we've seen in a long, long time.
Actually closer to 80.
Oh, thanks, Clayton, for the update.
Just the non-certified, yeah, and we finally had to close it because they kept coming in, but we've still got laterals open and our auxiliary spots, which applications are still coming in for those as well.
Yeah, it's spectacular. So we're hoping to be full here really soon, and I know that we've got a couple of good applicants that are actually coming to us looking to get hired from out of state up in the Seattle area. So we're attracting applicants from other states as well. So it's nice.
Super great. Thank you. There is a question on here about how to prevent violent crime. That's a tougher one.
Yeah, Amy, I saw that, and I'm just gonna go out on them and assume that they're maybe talking like assaults or aggravated assaults or like sex crimes from what I'm gonna say is like an unknown assailant, so kind of like a stranger type thing, and you know, I was just trying to think of some of those types of scenarios that we've had, and a lot of those times is what we've seen is like odd hours of the night or in an area where there's not many people and it's just this, I guess, single victim by themselves. So, you know, my advice would be just to, you know, safety in numbers type thing. If you happen to work at a store late and you're leaving, walking out in a dark parking lot, walk out with the coworkers, see if there's security guards from, you know, wherever, the mall or wherever, that can help, you know, walk you out or watch, make sure you get to your car safely or wherever it is, something like that.
Yeah, it's definitely always good to be aware of your surroundings and use those resources if you can. Luckily, we're blessed in Sandy in that most of our aggressive crime, I would say, is fairly low. Where we do see a lot of crime is in the property side, which is exactly why we wanted to talk about that tonight. But Chief, did I cut you off?
No, you did not, but I'd just like to touch on the same thing, is that the majority of persons-related crime or violent crime is perpetrated by somebody known to the victim. It's usually a known suspect, and a lot of those crimes occur within the family unit. And I just want to touch on that our police department is a leader in that area. We have a dedicated family crimes unit that is equipped with victim advocates, a therapist, and an investigator who their goal is to get to the core of the crime of domestic violence and try and break the cycle so it doesn't continue on for generations. It's been a program that we've had in place since Captain Chapman's dad, Steve Chapman, was our chief. He implemented it. It's very successful and it's groundbreaking and really changes people's lives.
Thank you for adding that. I appreciate it. Okay, how are things in Sandy regarding demonstrations and riots?
So,
Go ahead.
So we've had a couple demonstrations in Sandy, and lucky for us that nothing's gone to the level of a riot. But we've done the best we can to actually work with the coordinators of the demonstrations and, you know, try to communicate with them, see what their plans are, so we can provide staffing, not only to protect any of the city's property or citizens, but also to make sure that people have their able to go out there and exercise their First Amendment right and protect them from anybody else that like anti-protesters. So we've only had 3, I want to say, and they've actually gone over very well, all of them, and been very successful with no type of violence at all. So.
All right, question. How much of an issue is sex trafficking in the area?
All right, I can take this one as well. So like I noted earlier, I spent the better half of my career in narcotics. Part of that job was Vice as well, which covered the sex trafficking. We do not have a very large issue with sex trafficking here in Sandy. However, we do have an issue with it. In the past, it has come from 2 areas. The first is Asian massage parlors, which we have and will continue to have a problem with. We actively work those and try and close those down, working with the state, close those down by working with the state and Homeland Security. Those are usually kind of indentured servitude type deals from Asia and those places. The second area where we've had sex trafficking issues, which isn't as big of a problem as it has been in the past, where the pimps would bring prostitutes up from Las Vegas, the Las Vegas metropolitan area during the week when it's slower down there. and then they would bring them up to Sandy when we were kind of the end of the valley and utilize our hotels to conduct their business. Worked many of those cases since the Sandy is kind of Draper's grown, and the Silicon slopes down there have come into place down in Utah County. They've kind of stopped down there. We did some really aggressive enforcement up here back in the mid 2000s, 2005 to 2010 area, and really clamped down on it. So it's kind of an overview of what we face. We still do have sex trafficking here, and we work it aggressively, but it's not a huge problem within Sandy City.
Okay, thank you, Chief. Does Sandy City have concealed weapons licensing classes?
No.
So we do not offer concealed weapons licensing. Usually that's offered by an independent contractor. We do have officers that do that on the side, but we don't actually sanction it here in the police department.
Thank you. Okay. Have a lot of people just saying thank you, thank you, thank you. So we appreciate your support of us. So thank you back. I would, let's see. Are you guys seeing, panel members, are you guys seeing questions that I did not get to? Okay. I think we covered them. So in conclusion tonight, just thank you for your participation in this Night Out Against Crime virtual event. I would love to encourage you as members of the community to participate in the hashtag Sandy Secure Initiative. Spread information throughout your neighborhood to help us prevent property crime that is usually preventable. Watch, we will be starting this hashtag Sandy Secure campaign tomorrow. Tonight's our launch, but tomorrow we'll be starting to post things to social media every week for the next about 9 months. So watch for the weekly social media posts. We'll be posting to nextdoor.com. We'll be posting to Neighbors by Ring. We'll be posting to Facebook. We'll be posting to Instagram and Twitter. So share all of those posts if you can and talk to your neighbors. You can also refer to the information that we talked about tonight on the Sandy City webpage. Everything will be posted there, including all of the resources we talked about. I wasn't able to do a chat where I could put that information, but it will all be found on the Sandy City website at sandy.utah.gov. So you can reference Sandy Secure there, and it will pull up all the information we've talked about and the web addresses and other things. And then if you have any additional questions that you want answered, please feel free to reach out to me at the police department. Again, it's Amy Bryant. My title is Crime Prevention Specialist. If any of you are taking notes, my number is at the office is 801-568-7200, and the operator can put you through to me. You can also email me at abryant@sandy.utah.gov. Also, I'm happy to respond to posts that I put out on Nextdoor and on Neighbors by Ring. So if nobody has anything else from the panel, I appreciate all of the police panel for being here and making this night great. And thank you to the citizens. Have a great night, and thanks for being here. See you later, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, Amy.
Thanks, guys.
I clap for you, Amy.
It's done. See you. Oh.